Hey folks, we got a special treat today. I don't have guests very often on the YouTube video. This is number 2, and I love this guest, Mark Keneipp. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you.
Mark is going to discuss a topic that he introduced me to that had a profound impact on how I try to drive change in organizations. This is Joe Kuhn of Lean-Driven Reliability, bridging the gap between the best practices you know you should be doing and the reality that you live in every day, the challenges to drive that reliability culture. Okay, for Mark, Mark holds a Bachelor of Science and a Master's of Science in Industrial Engineering from the University of Illinois. He's a professional engineer and a CMRP. He has over 40 years of experience in the aluminum industry. 16 of those years, he was in charge of driving lean at Alcoa Smelter located in southern Indiana, and that's where Mark and I met. In the last 13 years of his career with Alcoa, he was the smelter's reliability excellence program manager, driving a reliability culture. That role expanded to a global role, so all the smelters across the globe for Alcoa. The smelter that Mark cut his teeth on was 55 years old, and it was recognized 4 years into this reliability journey as the most stable smelter in the Alcoa system. And this is competing against smelters that were less than 10 years old. So absolutely phenomenal job that Mark led. There's hope for you. Wherever you're at on your journey, there's hope for you. Since 2013, Mark has been semi-retired and doing some reliability consulting, just like me. He's presented several times at SMRP and has been published several times in reliability trade magazines. So, hey, Mark, let's get right into it. I've heard you talk about fear of embarrassment. This is a culture change, and please, folks, hang on for this. This is very important to your culture change. Mark, on fear of embarrassment, tell us what that is in your own words.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Well, I'm going to start out with a maxim here, and it is that the fear of embarrassment or the fear of failure, really, both of those are the biggest personal barriers to adult learning or adult experiences expanding your comfort zones. And if a person is experiencing those kind of emotions, which may just show up as like a general anxiety, they can really be absolutely crippling and problematic. But here's the other part of that. A person that may be feeling that, they can be very good at hiding that emotion. And you can say, well, why would you want to hide it? Or why would a person even feel this fear of embarrassment? Well, because what's at stake is our self-esteem, our self-confidence. They're at risk. Because anytime you're severely embarrassed, it's just not a good feeling. In fact, it may take a person back to bad memories they had maybe growing up, grade school, high school, what have you, when they were really embarrassed. And so now here we are years later, and we've made that memory something bigger. And we're going to be very cautious on not revisiting those feelings that we didn't enjoy having years earlier. And so what happens is a person's presented with an opportunity, and this mental mechanism kicks in. And so the person decides to let the opportunity pass, but they do that by providing a very honorable excuse. And this really ends up masking this real reason, which might be a fear of embarrassment or failure. And then by that reason being provided, their self-esteem and self-confidence, it's all preserved very well. But the thing that happens is, for me and you and the next person, we believe that honorable excuse, and we take that as a truth, and we process that also. And we may never realize that what really was going on for the person was they were just anxious. They had a fear of embarrassment going on there for them. And so, Joe, it is true. I planted this thought with you maybe a decade or so ago, and I think you were skeptical.
I'm just
said, no, I don't think so. And then you kept coming back to me and said, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're both engineers. We work in a technical environment. Maintenance and reliability. There's a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things. And what I've been facing as I was deploying reliability best practices, and now in my consulting business, it just comes at you so hard because one of the first things the first thing I ask people to do to understand their culture is go out and observe. And there's automatically some barriers to that. One of them is, I trust the numbers that are in my office, and the fear of embarrassment of seeing reality continues to show up as a barrier to people wanting to go out and observe. Especially leaders. So, Mark, how prevalent is this? How common do you see it in your travels?
Well, I think fear of embarrassment is very common, even though it may show up for the individual as an anxiety that doesn't necessarily have this name on it. But that's really what is going on there. But as common as I think it is, I will tell you, I think that would not be obvious at all to the casual observer like you or me. For example, I've been in a lot of plants that were in various stages of implementation of reliability excellence, and they brought me into the plants to help them speed up this implementation. And often I see lots of great positive things. I see a good reliability game plan in place. I see good organization structure. I see good leadership by the plant manager. Lots of strong people, and I'm like, so what's going on here? It looks like everything set up pretty good. Everything is it's set for success. So why is this implementation so slow, or maybe it's even completely stalled? It's culture change, and that's the stuff that we can't see. And it's people facing the culture change of reliability excellence, and they may, because of that, be having some anxiety, the fear of embarrassment again. Remember, ultimately, culture change determines that speed of implementation. In the 1980s, there was a business guru named Peter Drucker, and he even said, culture change eats strategy for breakfast. And if you think about that, that really is huge. It's culture change, it's people's attitude and behavior towards the change. It's getting people to want to embrace the change and wanting to use it. And a bad outcome would be people saying, I can't get excited about this thing. I really don't care if it happens or not. And that would be something that's definitely going to slow down implementation. I think this is very prevalent. I go into plants, I see everything is looking pretty good, but still something is not right. But again, it's like the pink elephant in the room. Only a few of us can see it, and others are they think we need a more game plan or a better sponsorship or other things like that.
Yeah, it's to me, for you change agents out there, you're trying to drive change, you're a reliability engineer, maintenance manager, maintenance supervisor. If 2 + 2 = 5 and something doesn't add up, look for fear of embarrassment, because what is that barrier? You know how to do this stuff. Very often, fear of embarrassment, and you need to work through that. Mark's going to talk about a couple examples. But tell us a story, Mark, about fear of embarrassment that was blocking an organization without naming the organization.
All right, fine. I will say that when this is in play, it would be a rare individual that would stand up in front of the group and say, "I'm a little anxious over this thing." It just doesn't happen. You'll get an honorable excuse instead. So let me tell you about a story of a failure that I felt like failure or embarrassment was in place. I was at a client. We were getting started. And pretty quick, it came up that their CMMS system had all kinds of shortcomings. It wasn't gonna work. And that is a showstopper because CMMS systems are expensive. Yes, expensive to go and change and what have you. Instead, we arranged for a technical rep from the CMMS company to come in, have a little Kaizen. And that was great. They were up for that. And let me tell you, that kind of surfaced that there really wasn't any showstoppers there. This CMMS system, although it was from a small company, it was really top notch. It would do about everything they wanted. There was a couple of little things to work on, and they pretty much had those nailed down in no time. And I realized what was going on was that this MMS system had stalled because some individuals were anxious over it, didn't fully understand it. He was threatening to them. And so said it was just not a good the software. And the maintenance manager, he believed that. That became his truth. And it was interesting. And now suddenly all this is, we've got this barrier behind us because these little problems are being taken care of. Big aha moment for the plant. And I will tell you, when I came back in a month, the maintenance manager said, "Hey, we're going to go on and go paperless with this thing. It just makes sense. Everybody's talked about it. We've got tablets on order. We've got Wi-Fi throughout the plant, and we're going to do this." And I'm like, "This is incredible," because 2 months ago, this software was just a piece of trash, and now you make this leap into wanting to go paperless. And it showed me once we got that anxiety and fear of embarrassment behind us, we really we were moving fast. That was great. I thought that was a
great example. So to me, it was like everybody's fears of being wrong and trying something new and all that. They rested that on top of the CMMS system, and it was like, there's our scapegoat. There's our problem, and that allowed people to express their fears, but it was really, it's a technical problem, and you helped them knock that down, and then culture change happens. So excellent example, Mark. Hey, now how about a success? Tell me about another success.
Okay. Well, I think back to the SMRP conference that was in Indy several years ago, and our plant was so close to that, we submitted many abstracts for that. We were successful in getting several of them approved. And one of those was a presentation on planning, scheduling, and kitting, and it was going to be given by two of our best planner schedulers, and it was pretty exciting. And so one of the planner schedulers, he was pretty anxious about this, and he leveled with me on that one-on-one. And so I made him an offer. I said, "I'll tell you what, you're the best guy to give this presentation, but I will give this presentation in your place right up to a minute before you go on stage if you want to take me up on that. So go on and get yourself prepared and all that." And truly, once we get to that point, it's my offer. Well, let me tell you, if you've been to the conference, you know this. 100 people or so are gathering into the room, and the presentation's up there, ready to be teed off. And I went to the individual. I said, "Are you good to go? Because I can step right up here and take this mic off you right now." That's how comfortable I was with it. He said, "No, I think I can do this." And let me tell you, it was fantastic. And really, it was such a neat story because for him, it launched really his career going to another level. And you and I both know this individual, and he became a worldwide subject matter expert and traveled all over the country really within the next 5 years. It was just such a neat experience to see happen for him. It really was.
Yeah. So, hey, great example. And folks, the very simple example of how you recognize fear of embarrassment, fear of failure in somebody, and then giving them something to focus on. Hey, you've got me as a backup, and recognizing that. And somehow that allows people to walk through that obstacle. Great example. So
let me give another one, Joe.
Yeah, go ahead.
Anybody who has taken the CMRP exam or is thinking about taking it, I'm sure that they've had a bit of anxiety over that. And in fact, it would be very easy to just say, I don't need to take this thing because of that. That would be the honorable excuse. I just don't have time to do it. But if the desire to pass that exam and take it is that great, then you will overcome all the negative emotions, and you'll go into that exam, and you very well may pass it on that first or second try, and it'll be a great reward to have for you in your future and on your resume and all that. And I'm thinking maybe our audience can relate to that, because most people going into that exam have a lot of anxiety.
Yeah, Mark. Yeah. If you're the maintenance manager and you've been the maintenance manager for 10 years, and then you take the CMRP test and fail, you're like, oh my gosh, look how embarrassing that will be for me. But if you look at it like, okay, I'm committed to this, So what if you fail it once? So what if you fail it twice? Take it a third time. You can get through this, and how good you'll feel, how proud you'll feel on the other side of that. Fear of embarrassment drives decisions. Mark, you and I are both obviously males. I think this is a little bit worse in males, the fear of being wrong,
Yeah.
especially to your peers. You agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Okay. So what levers do you use? So you come
Okay.
into that, you mentioned a couple examples. What are some themes of how you may approach this?
Okay. I want to start out with a quote from an actor, a person we all know, and it's Will Smith. And he even has some videos out there himself. And he has a quote I love, and it says, "God placed the best things in life on the other side of terror."
Yeah.
And you and I both have talked about that quote and
Yeah,
how, yeah,
absolutely.
it's real. So what can the manager or change agent do? Well, just be aware of this possibility and that it can be out there, almost like I said, a pink elephant in the room. And if you sense that that's going on, get with this person in a one-on-one safe environment and just, relate your own personal experience where you may have actually had a situation like this where you were anxious and how you worked through it and it was a good outcome on the other side. That's one approach. I think one must really focus on the fantastic outcome on the other side of the barrier, as
Yeah.
Will Smith says. And really, that strong desire will find a way to overcome all
Yeah.
personal barriers. It really will. And for the manager, that might be providing training to increase awareness. Um, Training is an opportunity. It's a safe environment for folks to ask those questions, on things that they're on their mind, things they're not sure about. I would say also, don't overthink it. The outcome of almost any what if question on a self-talk basis is going to be more anxiety. What ifs usually lead to worrisome sort of thoughts. Otherwise, I'd say just normalize the experience. Everybody experiences anxiety. Sharing these feelings with a colleague, maybe finding common ground for support is a good thing there. Just look back on your own previous successes, previous experiences, and you can say, I can do this again. I even do that a whole lot. I even maybe did it for this video this morning because I've presented at conferences and every one I go into, I'm still a little anxious as you get up in front of 120 people. So I say to myself, I can do this again.
Yeah, Mark, hey, you just reminded me that Will Smith video, first of all, for you folks out there, he's talking about skydiving. It was the one example he used as he's standing at the door, just totally terrified, and how, much fun and the world as he saw it jumping out of the airplane, how beautiful it was, and the experience. But it was right on the other side, literally right on the other side of terror for him. So, hey, Mark, what about hiring a coach? What do somebody's going through a reliability journey. They're trying to DIY, do it themselves. Hiring a coach, that can also, somebody like you and me that is trained to see this, that's also sounds like a great lever.
Yeah, we have the advantage that we've been in a lot of plants. We've seen a lot of successes or things that didn't work so well in other plants. And then we can bring that into your plant. And it's all about helping that implementation be faster.
Yeah.
That really is the key.
Yeah. And one of the things I like about what Mark's levers is, and what I try to use, is the one-on-one. You pull them into a conference room or outside, and I'm telling you, once you start having that heart-to-heart connection with the change agent or the person that has this fear of embarrassment, I'm telling you, their guard will come down pretty quick. In group settings, it's almost impossible to do. One-on-one, I'm telling you, you can get there. And if you're driving culture change, I promise you, fear of embarrassment is going on. To what level? You need to assess that. But I'm telling you, it is one of the top 2 or 3 obstacles to driving a reliability culture is fear of embarrassment. You need to see it. If you're floundering along with your reliability effort, look for this. Okay. Hey, Mark, great job. Hey, I got 2 standard questions I like to ask guests. Hey, what do you know now after 40 years that you wish you knew when you were 30?
Well, I will tell you, when I was 30 years old, I was a maintenance manager. I had a group of 75 mill mechanics and technical folks, and we were operating in a highly reactive environment, and it was painful. And I just wish back then I'd had the extensive knowledge of reliability excellence that I have now. By the way, I didn't learn a thing about reliability excellence until I was age 50. And so I would say it's never too late to learn a new skill set and expand your comfort zone. And I did have a great desire level to learn about this new reliability excellence, because I couldn't imagine there was something that could be so good out there when I'd had all that pain as a young maintenance manager.
Yeah, and Mark, that is, I know you very well. That is the reason that you consult, and that's the reason I consult. It's like, oh my gosh, I've got all this information on the other side of this mountain that I've climbed. I really feel obligated to go out and teach and train. That's the purpose of this video. You folks have heard me say that several times. These videos that I make is, oh my gosh, you know how to do this. I can do it a lot faster and really improve people's lives there and improve their careers and improve the communities. It's a big deal, and it's my passion, and I know it is yours too. Okay, second question, not necessarily on reliability, Mark, but what book impacted your career the most?
All right. Well, I'll tell you the book I really like was How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. You know, it was written in 1936. It's never been out of print. It's timeless, and it just has a great message on how to expand your comfort zone. And I love it. My copy, it's highlighted in yellow. I revisit it now and then because the stories are still fresh, and it's a great message to try to live every day, I think. So that's my favorite book.
And Mark, I think especially today, we're doing this on a Zoom call, all the electronics, that are people are trying to connect with KPIs and conference calls. Just people are in their offices a lot more, and it's harder to make those personal connections with people. And I think that book is absolutely excellent. I don't know if you know this, but I actually took the Dale Carnegie course.
No,
when I was probably 24, 25, I took that course. That was a long time ago. Excellent, excellent. Folks, we're going to wrap this up, but it's culture change is, it's hard when you think about all the things you need to do, but when you break it down into what am I going to do today, it's really not that hard. You know, if you need a coach, seek out myself. I'm going to put Mark Keneipp. He actually has his own consulting business. I'm going to put a link to that below. If you want to talk to Mark from today, you feel a connection with him, reach out to him, see how he can help you on your journey. You know, this really isn't that hard if you understand the levers that are going on. Fear of embarrassment is a big one. So this is Joe out. Thank you very much, Mark.
Thank you.